Dear students and viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you all in my YouTube channel ZAHOOR Chemistry. I am SHIEKH Islam, teacher of high school Shanu, and today we are going to discuss about nitrogen cycle. Let's start with our topic. What this nitrogen cycle is? Nitrogen cycle is basically the circulation of nitrogen element or nitrogen gas through living and non-living components of the environment. I can repeat it again. The circulation of nitrogen element through living and non-living environment is called as nitrogen cycle. And in this particular cycle, we are going to know how this circulation occurs between living and non-living components of the environment. We know that nitrogen is present in the atmosphere in a very high quantity, about 78%, 78.96, which is approximately considered as the 79%. It means that air is about 80% concentration is composed of nitrogen. And this nitrogen, it is fixed by certain bacteria, certain algae, or by certain natural processes, and that particular process is called as nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation, it occurs by bacteria, by beluga algae, by process of lightning, whereby this atmospheric nitrogen is converted into the compounds of nitrogen, like nitrates, like nitrites, like hydrides of this nitrogen, and then this fixed nitrogen is taken by the plants very easily. Or we can state that plants can obtain this nitrogen in its fixed form or in its simple form. And during this nitrogen fixation, what happens there? This nitrogen is converted into its compounds like nitrates, like nitrites, like hydrides. These hydrides can be ammonia or they can be ammonium ions. And these compounds are then consumed by plants. These are absorbed by plants. How they are absorbed plants? They are absorbed plants through their roots. Plants absorb this nitrogen or compounds of these nitrogen by their roots. And when this plant, and what happens when these plants absorb this nitrogen? This nitrogen is usually used for the growth and development of the plant. And when this plant it is eaten, it can be eaten away by animals, or we can state that this plant can decay out, or there can be the death of the plant. जो ये plant है ये या तो मुरझा जाएगा, या तो ये खत्म हो जाएगा, इसकी death होगी, या ये decay हो जाएगा, किसी तरीके से decay हो जाएगा ये, या इस plant को these plants can be eaten by animals. And both these, that is plants and animals, which constitute the living component of the environment, both these decay out, or both these plants and animals will die out, or when there will be the death of these plants and animals, basically the nitrogen wastes, the nitrogen composition which is present in these dead plants and animals, it is basically what happens there. It is decomposed by bacteria and fungi, or we can state that these plants and animals have nitrogen wastes in them. These nitrogen wastes can be present in their body, or it can be present in their excreta. And these dead plants and dead animals are their excreta. They can be decomposed. By bacteria and fungi. When it can be decomposed by bacteria and fungi, and this nitrogen, the nitrogen which was first, or the compounds of nitrogen which was first composed by plants, and then it was composed by animals indirectly, it can again go into the atmosphere as compounds of nitrogen. And then what happens there? These compounds of nitrogen are then denitrified, or there occurs that denitrification of these compounds, whereby the nitrogen, whereby this nitrogen, it gets converted from its compound form into its element form, and all this process occurs by denitrification of these compounds of nitrogen. And in the last step, what happens there? Denitrifying bacteria. The bacteria which usually denitrify, which removes these oxides or hydrides, from this compounds of nitrogen, and this nitrogen is again this nitrogen element is again it comes into the atmosphere as the nitrogen gas, and in this way this cycle goes on in the atmosphere, and this cycle goes on between living and non-living components of the environment, or living and non-living components of the atmosphere, and that is what is called as the nitrogen cycle. So that was all about today's topic. Have a nice day.